Okay, morning everyone. Welcome to the briefing on Sunday the 18th. Another nice day, sunny out there anyway. There's been a couple of really good days of cross-country flying, thanks to this high pressure that's been pushing in. It's losing the battle slightly with the frontal systems up here, and they're just weak features now, but sort of coming down towards us during the day. I don't think it's going to affect us particularly, but the Midlands are going to see more cloud, as you'll see on both the SAT-PIC and the rainfall radar. Just changing things slightly. See the isobars, the spacing is a little bit wider than yesterday, so in theory also the wind has dropped a little bit compared to yesterday, but not very much. Still from a northwesterly direction, and the pressure seems about the same as yesterday, 1020, somewhere around there. And the high pressure stays with us for both tomorrow, cloudy feature on Monday, I think, and then still there on Tuesday. So certainly giving us some settled weather for the next few days. So what have we got today? Farnborough forecast 255 knots. So they keep chucking this sort of southwesterly wind in at times. You know, the reality is it's going to be 310, 320 is about right. 8 to 10 knots. A little bit more at flying heights. A few at 4.5. Yeah, I saw Cav OK yesterday. That's probably because there was cloud base in excess of 5,000 feet, but certainly going to be cumulus today at times. And 10k viz, so it should be quite nice. Upper winds, yeah, the 320, that's similar to yesterday, maybe a little bit less, 15 knots, slightly lighter down over us into the south, 10 knots, but still a northwesterly direction for most of the day. Here's where we start to see the influence of those frontal systems. There's the cloud coming through. Okay, so you can see the cloud out to the north of us, slowly spilling down. I think it'll be a sort of feature rather than something that actually reaches us and starts to cut the sun off. I think we've got a reasonable play area down in the south here, and the rainfall radar suggests that it's just light, and any stuff is going down the North Sea on odd showers coming down through here. So really nothing for us to worry about in the south of England. Temperature wise, I sort of said I think 17, 18 yesterday, and it only got up to about just over 16 degrees. So still felt chilly yesterday. So I'm going with 16 degrees today. It seems about right. BBC are suggesting the same. Over a sort of area in the south here. You can see it's a bit cooler up north, obviously with the influence of the upper cloud from that weak frontal system. And dew points, yeah, they were interesting yesterday. I talked about the dew points. If they got down to about 2 or below, we wouldn't see any cloud. But dew points went down to about 4 for most of the day, stayed there. That's why we got cumulus. And then at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you started to see them head down to about 1s and 2s, and it thinned out with much less than Q, and it blew in places in the late afternoon. Dew point's a bit higher today, 5 degrees, I think seems about right by early afternoon. So that certainly will give us cumulus. And I've just looked at an ascent from this basically Lasham area with 15 degrees. Dew points about 5 if you follow the line up. Yeah, should be about 4.5, somewhere around there. Cloud tops about 5.5. But Also on here, it just shows the lines have come together up here a little bit, so there may well be upper cloud, mid-level and upper cloud floating about during the day. And by later afternoon, similar sort of picture in and around here. Certainly 3 to 4/8 cumulus, but these lines up here are much closer together, so could well see some thicker bands of cirrus floating about later on in the afternoon. And I certainly think that's going to be the case. Up to the north, top Medio is showing cloud sort of in the Oxfordshire area north of there. And as the day goes on, sort of bands of cirrus, that's 11 o'clock. And then beyond 11 o'clock, we start to get sort of cumulus here. And perhaps spread out north of Oxford. Bits of upper cirrus and certainly cumulus with us for most of the day, and sort of shutting off. Yeah, it would be 4 or 5 o'clock cut off, I think, today. So should be a reasonable band of weather, but I think the better area is south of Oxford out to the northwest and the west. Looking at this, thermal heights, top Meteo and SkySight do agree on that. By sort of midday, it should be going. Might be a bit earlier than that, but when it gets going up to 3,000 feet, certainly by midday and beyond, and then by early afternoon, 1, 2 o'clock, they're showing 1,500 meters, so 4,500 feet over a reasonable area to the north of us up to Oxford, and a little bit beyond maybe, and out to the west. Again, this northwesterly wind might sort of bring the sea air in from the Bristol Channel out to the Somerset levels, so making it quite tricky in that area. But over a sort of reasonable area, they're not showing very good conditions, both top Medio and SkySight into East Anglia today. So potential flight distance. Although it looks reasonable in certain areas, this has been reduced from yesterday. It showed the pinks in a reasonable area here. I think it's out to the northwest and west. Today could well be worth avoiding the Pewsey Vale, or too far down the Pewsey Vale beyond Frome area. The sea air will probably come in across there. And SkySight, just have a quick look at what they're suggesting by 12 o'clock, 1,100 meters thermal heights, and then move it on a couple of hours to 2 o'clock. Nice sort of colours in here, 1,400 meters. And a similar sort of area out to the northwest and west. And their thermal strengths are suggesting in places 3 knots. Not really any better than that, so not as good as the last couple of days, I think. Potential flight distance is a similar sort of picture with SkySight. Better out to the west and northwest. Not very good in East Anglia. Okay, so not as good as the last couple of days, but certainly a reasonable day. Should be quite nice out there. Good for training, and good for a couple of 100, 300k with the right task in the right area, really. Right, so moving on, airspace. Lots of blobs on the chart. All this stuff in here, there's nothing of any relevance apart from there's an air display at number 18, but that finishes at 11:15. So that's about it. This is all just hang gliding or don't overfly cultural events. And they are no timing winch launching at Middle Wallop. Number 8 and 10 down here, Goodwood as an air display first thing in the morning, ends at 9:30. But it is the Goodwood revival. So keep a lookout. We saw a couple of helicopters floating past yesterday, and there will be things floating past towards that. And apart from that, even if you look up country, there really isn't. You're not going to be going that way, so there really isn't much in this area here. Operationally, jet movements. Well, I got 2 flight plans filed this morning. I thought, oh goodness, I wasn't expecting any jet movements today. Then I actually read them properly, and Gordon McDonald's going out in his Bonanza at 10 o'clock, so he's filed a flight plan out and back. So that's the only known aircraft movements, apart from gliding and towing today. And operationally, 2-7, normal setup on the runway with gliders and winching on the grass south side. And I'm not running the field today, and neither's Jordan. Merv Saunders is in charge, so please defer to him. Any questions at the launch point, and hopefully enjoy a nice day, folks.